Hey guys, Bananiac here. Welcome to another race video. This was the Cat 4-5 Aminorip Cycling Classic Crit that took place in Miami, Florida. I'm going to break this race down and give some perspective for anyone who wants to start racing or maybe starting like myself. I'm by no means an experienced racer, but hey, my friend Danny let me borrow his rear view camera, so I'm going to pretend like I know what I'm talking about. So this was a pretty big race, probably somewhere around 40 to 50 riders here. Rear camera does a better job showing how many guys are really out here. Let's start off with nutrition. This guy is eating a gel early on in the race. Your typical crit will most likely be around 30 to 60 minutes. So in general, you shouldn't have to take anything for this. I mean, you probably are better off taking a gel about 15 minutes before the race. That way your body digests it better and you don't risk losing your position or even crashing. About 2.5 miles in, there's a slight breakaway up the road and I noticed this guy moving up pretty fast, so I immediately jumped on his wheel for the draft. Always good to look around, look sideways, look back, so you see what your opponents are doing. That way, when someone is coming up fast, you're prepared and can react to their attacks. For staying hydrated, I definitely recommend taking a bottle with you, especially if you live in hot climates like Miami. Just take a sip whenever the pack slows down. 1 bottle should do the trick. I think 2 is a bit excessive. You don't really have that much time to drink in a crit anyway. There's been a few races where I've taken no bottles with me because it was so short and not very hot. Riding wise, I'll try to stay on the outside of the road when cornering, but I'll find myself on the inside sometimes, so I make sure I yell out "on your left" so other cyclists are aware. I've had some close calls cornering and it still kind of scares me, but it's a skill that you build up just by racing more often. Here I'm on the outside cornering, which is what I typically want. You waste a bit more energy, but it's a bit safer. Things here get a bit tight on the side of the road, so it's really important to keep yourself still. Wind was strong with this race. Really important to stay tucked in behind someone's wheel. Learning to draft close to someone's wheel is another skill that may seem intimidating at first, but gets better with time, and trust me, super useful when going fast. Also, looking up the road and not just the wheel in front of you is really important to avoid anything in your way like this cone. Can't tell you how many times in training I've had some close calls because I was just being careless and dozing off. So really important to look up. Here, this guy in the Bianchi moved up the road to close the gap as the group was starting to split, so I followed him. Really important you do this as quickly as possible because the longer you wait, the longer you will be on the wind, pushing yourself, and basically you're wasting energy like that. And here's another example of this. I unfortunately ended up on the wrong side of this guy in the red who was going relatively slower than the pack, and since I got caught in the wind, I was getting passed by everyone on the left, so I decided to put the power down and get around him as soon as possible. I should have done this sooner, but if I hadn't done it at all, I could have ended up towards the back, and that would not have been good. More than halfway through the race, things were getting pretty tight. Guys were trying to catch the break up the road with basically me not wanting to put in the work, so I just let the dude go. No way was I going to waste this much energy at this point. I looked back at the pack and decided to hop right back in. Super windy day, man. Trying to stay tucked in without getting caught behind the wrong wheel. Here you can see the group splitting and just moving to the side, so I let people pass me because I just didn't feel like chasing them down. Thankfully, I was able to hop right back with the group just fine. And dude, I can't stress enough how important it is to keep your eyes up, constantly scanning for guys dropping back. So dangerous. Not that it's their fault, although I think it's important that people go wide when dropping back. I think you should always be alert. Is the point I'm trying to make. Also, be aware when in the middle of the pack because people bump together all the time, so be prepared to react if things get ugly. That's why I try to stay on the outside as much as possible. Coming around the corner, I saw the guy making a move up, so I instantly caught his wheel for a free ride, using his body to block the wind. Here's another guy dropping back. I'm telling you, man, they're like flying bricks when you're riding close to 30 miles an hour. By the way, dude, check this wreck that almost happened right behind me. The dude's forearm pushes against the cyclist's leg that was next to him. Ridiculous. Here's another example of guys swerving while in the Peloton. Cat 5 racing is so sloppy, man. I am so thankful to be able to walk away from these races without a scratch. Anyway, around 17 miles in, I started to see a break up the road, so I decided to move up as I was trying to get a good position for the finish. This is probably the toughest thing for me right now, is holding a good position towards the end. People are constantly moving up, I'm constantly moving back, then I make an effort, I move up the road, same thing happens all over again. I think this is something that also comes with experience in just racing a lot. And one of my worst fears during a race is getting closed in on both sides. And I don't want to pick on every little bad moment, as that is part of the game, but I just want you to be aware of all these different scenarios that could happen and what you could be getting yourself into when racing. But seriously, love racing. I'm glad I got into this. It has taught me a lot so far and has made me a better cyclist overall for sure. Anyway, here's the last lap. Everyone is basically fighting for position so that they can get that sprint in the end. It was looking like I was going to get a good position. Yeah, I got passed by a lot of people. Didn't really have much left in the legs. Did a little sprint at the end for the show, but finished somewhere in the middle of the pack. Definitely could have done better. I think I should have stayed back more throughout the whole race, but you know, every race is a new learning experience for myself. So I have a lot of work and a lot more to learn, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, got some useful out of it. Let me know your thoughts down below and how your racing experience has been. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.